Sedona, Arizona, is one of the most beautiful places on earth. But there's more than beauty here. More than the majestic Red Rock Canyons. There's a special vibrational energy you can't help but feel. Sedona is the site of several major Earth vortexes, places where a great concentration of energy is emitting from the Earth, an energy that can turn the ordinary into the extraordinary, the real into the surreal. I'm Dick Sutphen, and for many years I've been conducting psychic seminars in this area. The participants come from all over the country to learn to develop their psychic abilities and to test these abilities in the vortex areas. The vortexes amplify all energy, so psychic energy is greatly enhanced, and the seminar participants usually have vivid experiences. So, for the next hour, we'll be exploring the 4 major vortex areas: Courthouse Rock, Boynton Canyon, Airport Mesa, and Bell Rock. All are located within a few miles of each other and almost surround the town of Sedona. Sedona is located 120 miles north of Phoenix in the central Arizona mountains at an elevation of 4,300 feet. And we'll be cutting back and forth from the vortexes to a hotel ballroom where I am preparing 350 seminar participants for their personal encounters with this energy. They are attending from 38 different states and 3 foreign countries over Easter weekend, 1986. During special effects segments designed to simulate common vortex experiences, the participants will relate their stories in their own words.
Okay, I always ask people, why do you want to be psychic? People come to this seminar and they want to learn to be psychic. And my response is that if your life is complicated already, life will get a lot more complicated. But I do believe that anyone can develop psychic ability if they want to develop psychic ability. I think everyone can develop healing ability to a degree also. And I like an analogy of playing golf or tennis or something similar that we might learn to do. If all of us in here were to take lessons out here to learn to play tennis today, and they showed us the basics of tennis, and we decided, okay, we like it, we're going to do it, we're going to practice a few minutes every day, pretty soon we would at least become fair to middling tennis players. Now, some people in the group they would have a natural ability to play tennis. They'd have all the coordination and everything else that it takes, and they'd become great tennis players. But we could all learn to play tennis. And it's the same way with psychic abilities. We can all get to be pretty damn good with our psychic abilities or with our healing abilities. Do you care enough about it to practice at it? We're going to be sharing ideas in here and techniques and having you test those techniques so that we can prove to you how effective they are. And then you can take those techniques with you and begin to use them in your life. Everyone has the ability to be psychic. I don't think you have to develop spiritually to develop psychically. It's like tennis. It's that simple. I think that psychic ability is a natural response to opening spiritually. But in reverse, I don't think that you do have to be spiritual to develop psychically. It's something you simply learn to do. Tap in on a sixth sense ability that's already there. Okay, now as I've already mentioned, the vortexes are the energy up here in Sedona definitely expands your energy. And that, the positive and the negative energy, you do need to keep that in mind. So it's your psychic energy, the energy that you would, if you're here with your mate or someone you love, it's the energy between the two of you. Chances are it will it will intensify that energy, physical energy. So be aware. Sometimes we've heard people just getting into terrible fights up here because they weren't getting along too well when they got here. Don't do that. All right, now in regard to developing your psychic ability, we're going to be testing a lot of different, or showing you a lot of different techniques. Many of you in this room are already familiar with them. But we'll put you on the spot of testing them. I hope that you'll pick one area that you naturally respond to or resonate with. Because I think we all have particular areas of psychic ability that we can develop more easily than the other areas. I think the first question that you might want to ask yourself is, how do I orient to the world? People appear to orient either visually or kinesthetically, feeling, or auditorially, through what they hear. And chances are your particular psychic ability will tap directly into the way you primarily orient to the world. Now I have a list here of the primary psychic areas. ESP, this would be general sensory, extrasensory perception, general psychic ability. Telepathy, this is feeling at a distance or thought transference. This is communication from one mind to another mind. Clairvoyance. Clairvoyance is usually visual perceptions in psychic or symbolic form. And of course, clairvoyance is the ability to read the past, the present, the future. Psychometry, holding an object and reading, trusting the impressions that come into your mind, and reading psychically in response to the object. Alan will be working with you on that one. Has a very powerful session on that. PK, psychokinesis, the ability to move things with your mind or to bend metal with your mind. Everyone try to find some silverware between now and tomorrow night. And don't steal it from the hotel. We're not real popular with them as it is, so it's bad karma to steal. The next life you'll have to have a restaurant and somebody will steal your silverware. I'm sure you can go to the dime store down the road and buy some cheap silverware if you want to participate in this tomorrow night. And it will work. You'll be able to bend it with your mind. It's incredible. Tara and I, the team, have been traveling around the country for the last few weeks doing a new seminar, an experimental seminar, and we're getting at least 80%, 85% response, success. Telling people, bend, bend, bend. And they do. And it freaks them out.
There's a crystal in Boynton Canyon where the land folds into itself. Solstices, equinoxes, and planetary alignments give energy to other vortexes. There is great rejuvenation here, as there has always been.
I perceived a buried large crystal, or maybe a special stone. It was creating a form of powerful energy, like a buried transmitter in the Boynton Canyon area. My most intense impressions were of this great sense of love and harmony in this area.
Okay, anyway, going on with the list here. Aura reading, verbal channeling. Alan will be showing you what that's all about and sharing the techniques with you if you desire to develop the ability. Automatic writing, I'll be working with you on that one. I love to work with people with automatic writing because I know the results I can set you up to attain. remote viewing, and then some of the basic techniques of tapping into your own superconscious mind, techniques like the tarot and the I Ching. We have people even take their tarot cards out into the vortexes and use them and report incredible energy and response. So, as an example now of relating this back to how you orient to the world, myself, I am visually oriented, very, very strong visual orientation. And I will often combine my orientation with an altered state of consciousness. And that's part of what this morning's all about. I'm going to work with you on some quick techniques for you to go out and use in the vortexes to go into a quick altered state of consciousness and maximize that psychic energy while you're there, while you're experiencing the vortexes. So I will use an instant altered state of consciousness, usually, if I want to be psychic, and I have conditioned myself so that it's a mudra technique, when I touch my index finger and thumb, I will just go down into a altered state of consciousness. I will usually count myself backwards very quickly. And I'll combine the visual orientation. As an example, I've shared this one before, but a little over a year ago, Tara had a birthday present for me. At the time, we were living both in Scottsdale and in Malibu, and we were back over at the Malibu house, and it was my birthday, and she had this box, and she was saying, "Okay, smartass, what's in it?" And if you're so psychic, and I don't like being psychic on demand. Anyway, so what I did was I picked up the box and held it to my head and went into an altered state of consciousness. And I like to listen for one word or one phrase that comes through in response to this. And I simply got one word, and it was deception. Saying that whatever the box appeared to be is not what it was all about. And I picked up that there were several things inside the box. I had a lot of presents in the box. And so I saw more boxes that came with that. I saw a very strong impression of a watch band, actually this watch band right here, which is a Hopi watch band. I couldn't have drawn the designs on it, but I had the definite symbols of the watch band. And so I drew that on a piece of paper to give to her. I had an impression of a book laying on its back and the pages just going flapping. And I had the impression of a tan or brown color, very strong. And I had an impression of a naked woman. So I told these things to Tara, and she said, "Oh my God, all I was doing was trying to think of a naked woman so you wouldn't read my mind."
The town of Sedona has a population of about 10,000 people and is known as an art colony. It is an intriguing mixture of elegance and artistic awareness combined with an easygoing Western lifestyle. The area known as Tlaquepaque has become world famous as an architectural showpiece of Spanish colonial design, and its galleries, shops, and restaurants attract millions of visitors annually. Visitors are enchanted by the quiet courtyards with tiled walkways, wrought iron gates, and shaded by giant sycamores and enhanced by beautiful flowers, gracious fountains, and splendid archways. 75 motion pictures have been filmed in the Sedona area, and many well-known artists, writers, and actors live here. But today, Sedona is rapidly becoming a metaphysical mecca, with New Agers from all over the country coming to visit the vortexes, falling in love with the environment, and deciding to stay.
How many people have already decided they want to move to Sedona? The city council is very worried that the town is being turned into a Bermuda Triangle with a lot of psychic weirdos hanging out here. So, who else? What are you doing here? What would you like to accomplish right here?
I don't know if this is too basic, Could you tell me what your definition of vortex is? And my kids asked me, and I really couldn't explain it to them. Plus, you also
Mom was
said,
just being weird and going off into
right, another weird,
some strange cult that was going to get her ass forever.
Right. No, they like me better now. So also it said in the self-help update that there were 4 vortexes in the world, 2 positive and 2 negative, and you only mentioned 1 other negative, and I wondered where the other positive and where the other negative were.
Well, now that's Indian legend, what I mentioned about the 4. The other positive vortex is supposedly in Kauai, Hawaii.
Kauai?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh,
The
my
red-
son just got back from there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he didn't know that though.
Supposedly, the red rock energy, there's also red rocks over in Kauai. And
what
I
about
don't know
the
where, I've been to Kauai too, but before I ever knew anything about this, but now that, again, is Indian legend, so I don't know. Supposedly the negative vortexes are in Sussex, England, and in the Bermuda Triangle, but I think it's a mistake to think in terms of them as negative in regard to good and bad. We're simply talking about a different type of energy, and it's energy, it's yin-yang energy. We have to have a yin-yang force to exist on this planet. And maybe the analogy of an automobile battery is best, where you have a positive plate and a negative plate, a positive plate and a negative plate, and it's the interaction between the positive and the negative that creates or generates the energy.
So the Bermuda Triangle is not a bad vortex.
Not unless you get disappeared, I don't think.
Okay,
I've been through there and I didn't get disappeared.
what about your definition of vortex then? Can you give me that?
Well, there appears to be a psychic energy here that I'll let you judge that one for yourself as to whether or not it exists.
Who discovered that this was a vortex area? I mean, the Indians or, you know?
Well, the Indians have always talked about it as a power spot. It's on the ley lines, these magnetic ley lines, the same lines that Stonehenge and all these other spiritual power spots are on. What tipped me to it was Lyle Watson, the biologist and author, wrote about it as being one of the 3 major vortex centers. There's vortexes all over the country, understand that. It's just this is such a major one. And it was that tipped me to the idea that it was here. There were a lot of other people who were involved in psychic activities who knew it was here well before that. But that's what started me searching on it back in the early mid-70s.
This is the Boynton Canyon area. Boynton is an electromagnetic vortex, which means it is a combination of the yin-yang forces, which should result in a perfect state of balance. When you enter the vibrational field or frequency, you can expect an expansion and elevation of consciousness. The energy is ideal to stimulate past life memories and psychic activities. The Boynton Canyon area is called sacred ground to the Yavapai Indians, who say it's the home of the Great Mother, which they perceive as the creative force.
basic information that you should be aware of before you go off into the vortexes. Realize, as I've already said, that the vortexes expand, they intensify energy. And so they're going to intensify whatever's going on with you, and that includes your psychic abilities. That's a psychic energy. But it can intensify negativity too, so be cool. Don't get upset by things out there. Or you are very likely to get more upset than you would normally be. Something else that I want to warn you is that most of you are psychically in tuned anyway, and when you go out there and you start going into an altered state of consciousness, there have been a lot of people who will start to hear a lot of inner voices. It is my truth that there is no way an entity of a lesser vibration can get through to you. If your vibrational rate is of a certain level, only entities of a higher vibration can get through to you. But that level can be lowered by drugs or alcohol or depression or a lot of things. So if you're down, I think contacts can be made, and you want to be very careful. Also, if you're out there crawling around in the countryside, you are liable to come upon Indian caves. And enjoy those caves. There's some wonderful ones around here. But people are still discovering, even in very close proximity to Sedona, caves that nobody's spotted. The skeletons are still lying there in the caves. There's pottery. There's a lot of things in there. It's a very severe fine in this state if you take anything out. So don't do that. Don't take any pottery or anything else you might find. They'll put you in jail for 5 years and many thousands of dollars. Also, those nice little cactuses that might look great in Illinois, buy them at the store. Do not dig them up out there, or the spirits will get you, and Smokey the Bear will get you faster. I like to work in an altered state of consciousness in the vortex, and you decide on that whether it works best for you or not. And when I say that, all you need to do is what I did with you this morning. I would have you sit down, get comfortable, close your eyes. You've already been given this suggestion. Connect your index finger and thumb. Do a little deep breathing for a minute or so. And then relax your body. Start with your feet, and you do not need a smooth patter like I might have to relax your own body. All you need to do, if you're going to talk to yourself, the secret of being a good hypnotist anyway is to talk boring. That's really it. You just talk as if you were bored to death. And even if you're thinking it to yourself, say, my feet are relaxing. Feel my feet relaxing. And move through your whole body. When you've completed the relaxation, then count yourself down. Most of you in here, I think, have probably used my tapes where you count down. Number 7, deeper, 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 down, down, down. The most important thing to assist yourself in dropping into an altered state of consciousness is the visualization of going down as you count backwards. Now, you don't have to count backwards. You can count up. You can count anyway, but the standard technique is to simply count down. Number 7, deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 6, visualize yourself. I like to visualize myself falling through the air. You might visualize yourself running down the hillside in the country. You might visualize yourself going down on an escalator or an elevator. When you have reached the basement, you begin to use whatever you start to give yourself the instructions that you desire to experience. Now, do put the white light around you. Visualize a white light coming down as a beam from above, entering the crown chakra on the top of your head. Feel that light within you flowing through your body and mind, and then imagine it emitting from the heart area to surround your body in a protective aura of bright white God light. And I like to say to myself, only highly evolved and loving entities who mean me well, only my own guides, my own masters will be able to influence me in any way. And visualize that light, and I think you've got very powerful spiritual protection. Once you've done this, one of the things that I like to do is to test the energy. I don't do it anymore, but I did it initially. And one of the best ways to do this, and you don't even really have to be in an altered state of consciousness, especially if you're at Airport Mesa, to do this, but it's more powerful this way. Hold your hands out towards the vortex area, aimed at the vortex area. In other words, sit up on the edge, around the edge of the vortex somewhere. And remember, we're not looking for a great indention in the ground with a sign that says vortex. We're only looking for natural countryside around here as we describe it on these instruction sheets. But hold your hands out and just concentrate and see what you feel coming against the palms of your hands. And then turn around and face the other way and hold your hands out and see if you feel the same thing. I contend you won't. You'll feel the force of the vortex when you're facing the vortex. When you move away from the vortex, you will not. Now, this will work especially well at Airport Mesa. It will work to a little lesser degree at Courthouse Rock or at Bell Rock. But you're going to have to just be away from the vortex a little ways to do it there, and then turn. It will not work at Boynton Canyon, because Boynton Canyon is an area that is it extends so far out that it's going to be very hard to get in a spot where you're right there in the center and not have as much energy behind you. It's a huge area, and it's my experience personally is that it doesn't work as well there. So try that.
We're now at Red Rock Crossing. Red Rock Crossing is said to be the most photographed point in the state of Arizona. In the background, you'll see Courthouse Rock. Courthouse Rock is a magnetic vortex, which means it's charged with the yin energy, the female force. And this makes it ideal to experience subjectively, to experience past lives, to explore psychically. This is another view of Courthouse Rock. I've had previous seminar participants tell me that the area, the general area around here, supposedly emanating out about 500 feet from the base of Courthouse, has generated forgotten memories, memories in this life they've forgotten all about. I've probably had more people report physical healings here at this vortex than at any of the others.
I hope that you'll leave the automatic writing until tomorrow. I want to give you a lot of instructions. I really want to prepare you tomorrow morning with doing some exercises in here, then doing some things together that will really prove you can use this power, and then go out into the vortexes and use the automatic writing tomorrow. But if you want to regress yourself, it's a perfect time to regress yourself back into a past life. Tune in to simply see what you can get. I would suggest that you use what is called thought language. Well, most of you know this. It's simply in meditation, you ask a question in the form of a thought. And then you listen as that thought comes back to you in the form of an answer. Or maybe it will come back as a visualization. You'll hear words or see slides or whatever it may be. It's great to use the healing techniques out there. Now, for those of you that have the internet, and this is not, I couldn't care less if you buy these or not, but if you have the Sedona album package, it has pre-recorded tapes that will do it all for you. And on the healing, I get wound up like a Pentecostal preacher screaming to be healed now. You can do it yourself. You don't need that. If you want it easy, you can use that. Okay, now, crystals. I would experiment with the crystals. There's a lot of ways that you can experiment with the crystals. This whole area will amplify your energy. But the crystals will amplify it even more, which may even be too much for some people. Hair will stand on end. So you judge yourself on that one. But remember, a crystal is an amplifier. It amplifies psychic energy. It amplifies your energy. So the crystal is also, it can create clarity in thinking, and it's going to amplify yours and the vortex's energy. So try it with and without the crystal. The standard technique of going into meditation with the crystal is to put, let's say you're going to sit in Taylor, you're going to sit in the standard lotus position. You would connect to me, you'd go in like this. You see people always pictured, or see statues of Buddha holding his fingers in this mudra position. But now in your left hand with your palm up, cup the crystal. That's to receive energy. Then let your palm be down with your right hand, and that's to give out the energy. So you're funneling and using the energy.
The inner temple was like a crystal cave and seemed to impart a knowledge and healing effect. The sounds inside the cave were like a finger stroking a thin crystal.
And in that regression, I was an old man with long white hair and beard, and I was in what appeared to be a cave-like room ablaze with light. The light came from crystals arranged in a pentagram, and people would come and sit in the pentagrams. It was just as if everyone came to do this.
The psychic center, remember, is right here at the point at the base of the breastbone, right here. There are people who have reported that they've gotten really great results in laying the crystal right there. Girls wearing bras, it's going to be very easy to do. Guys, I don't know how you're going to keep it there, I guess, unless you lie on your back or tape it on. Some people tape on right on the third eye, tape the crystal. This is why Smokey the Bear and the forest rangers think we're pretty weird. See people out there with pyramids in their head and crystals here. The vortex stones, I don't think that, some people have actually reported laying the vortex stones on the third eye, and actually, in other words, finding a stone, little red rock in there, and laying it here or on the psychic center. You can try it. I personally have tried it and didn't experience that much. I mean, you're so surrounded by the energy when you're out there that it didn't seem to me to do a thing. There are some people, just as they would do in working with astral projection, they want their head north and they want to take off all their jewelry and all their clothes to work out there, which is between you and you. But if you're going to do that, I would at least suggest that you go to Boynton Canyon where there's a lot of room to kind of get lost in. At Bell Rock and all, you're going to create a spectacle. So maybe bring in Smokey the Bear. So keep that one in mind. The pendulum, of course, I can't take the time now to really give you pendulum lessons, but boy, if you think the pendulum is activated at home or elsewhere, when you work with it out there, I think you'll see the pendulum will spin. You know, this counterclockwise, maybe no, clockwise, yes. Undecided. You make up your own code as to what the pendulum means, but I guarantee you it will swing like crazy out there. I personally like to work within a pentacle, but now that's my belief system, and it's something I've worked with for a very, very long time. And the pentacle is the highest spiritual symbol on the earth. It's with a point up. It's a seal against evil. It's a seal against negativity. And I use it all of the time in my own life in different ways, as far as protection for myself or for Tara and the children. But for me, the very least I would do, because it's part of my belief system, and I have been incorporating it for so long, the least I would do would be the place that I am going to sit or lie down. I would make the sign of the star, of the pentacle, the pentagram, on the ground. I would rather draw it with a stick. And if you really want to go all the way, then pick up some cornmeal at the store. The store is now going to have a run on cornmeal and not have the faintest idea what happened. And make a 5-pointed star on the ground and sit within it. And of course, I always visualize the white light coming down, entering the crown chakra. And then I have my own little mantras that I do in my own spiritual exercise. I seek thy protection from all things, seen and unseen, all forces and all elements. And combining that with the white light, I always feel very, very protected. The pentagram is also, or pentacle is also it's the star of man. It symbolizes higher self dominating the elements, the other 4 points. So do as is appropriate for you.
We are now at Airport Mesa Vortex. This is an electrical vortex, so it is yang charged with the male force. The energy here will stimulate and elevate consciousness. Some feel it is also ideal to eliminate depression. In my book, You Were Born Again to Be Together, I wrote a great deal about my personal experiences in this vortex area.
I would suggest that at the very least you do some form of invocation, even if it's simply a prayer that you make up right on the spot about what you would like to receive while you're there. Now, if you're going to work with healing, let me add that very quickly. I would suggest that you work in an altered state of consciousness. If it's self-healing, instead of the white light, I would draw down the blue healing light. This is what I've always been instructed to do. It's what I've used effectively, not every time, but many times. I even wrote about it, I think, in You Were Born Again to Be Together. Draw down an intense, shimmering, iridescent blue healing light. Feel it entering the crown chakra on the top of your head. Feel it flowing through your body and mind. And then start building the energy to the point where the palms of your hand become hotter and hotter and hotter. And the more you concentrate upon this, the more you ask that it be done, the more you focus and say, I'm concentrating, I'm intensifying, enlarging the energy, and my hands get hotter, and you'll feel them get hotter. We do this in the seminars now. Most of the seminars we do on the road, and we have people blister their hands. That's too hot, obviously. Don't do that. But when you feel that energy is then at a peak, lay your hands on the affected part of your own body. If you know where the acupressure points are, like say if it were the kidneys, I think there's some acupressure points right here. Lay your hands on the acupressure points. Also, if you're working with someone else, then you have that person lie down there beside you. You sit beside them in the position that is going to be most comfortable for you. Go into the altered state of consciousness, draw down that blue light, heat up your hands, and then lay your hands upon the person and upon the place where they need the healing. We're finding now, as we've been doing some investigating for some writing, that even the professional nursing groups around the country are now using the laying on of hands. And this is a very, very real energy. It's every bit as real as the energy out here in the vortexes. You can't measure it, is the only thing. You can only measure it with Kirlian photography, and that shows very well that it exists, that it's there. So work with that. Work with healing with each other.
Behind me is Bell Rock Vortex. Bell Rock is said to be an electrically charged vortex, which means that it's charged with the yang force, the male force. Now, when you enter the vibrational field of Bell Rock, the psychics and those who have explored this energy say that you're stimulated, your consciousness is elevated. You'll feel it physically, you'll feel it emotionally, and of special importance to a metaphysical audience, you will experience a psychic stimulation.
Hypnosis and felt a strong sensation. It was and then I saw a real bright blue light, and I said, well, it's got to be the sky. And I look up when I opened my eyes and there's clouds.
Were you asking for any information, or what was the purpose of the meditation?
I really wanted to feel the energy, but I was also asking what was my purpose. Mm-hmm. And then immediately I started having thoughts going through my head, and I had thoughts like, be more positive, and which I know I have been very negative.
What's your reaction right to the mountain?
Well, basically, it's a challenge. It feels like there's an aurora up there that's actually drawing you up the mountain. It's to get up there.
Yeah.
To reach the top. And it's very difficult. You got some pitfalls going through there, but basically it can be attainable, I believe.
After I finally got my heartbeat back down to normal, I went into an altered state of consciousness with my crystal, and I saw the red light. And I thought at first, you know, I was retaining a visual image of the surroundings, but it was not that shade of red. And I began to heat up with my crystal.
Your hands, the palm of your hands?
Yeah, an intense flow of energy. I mean, just I was tingling. My feet were tingling. My I don't guess my hair was standing up, but it was just. But it was a fantastic surge of energy, and I didn't ask for anything. I just asked for impressions.
Yeah.
I just.
Do you have no doubt that there's energy up there in that mountain?
It's there. It is very much there.
I went into a trance at Bell Rock and saw many beautiful light beings popping through an amazingly blue sky, each transporting a crystal. Each came to rest on a grassy meadow, which was located in the Sedona area. I was one of the light beings, and a crystal was in my keeping.
Phil, have you had any experiences out here today?
Normally when I meditate, I see visions. I haven't seen any visions at all now. What I've seen is color, an enormous amount of red. It's a real bright, vivid red color. The energy is just making my heart want to jump right out of my chest, and I can feel the pressure on my head, just the pounding pressure when I go into meditation. I don't feel it now as I'm sitting here, but when I go into meditation, I can feel it.
Are there any conclusions that you can draw from that?
No, it's something new to me. It's not anything I've ever felt before, and I'm trying to analyze it and figure out what it is, but I haven't been able to yet.
So you feel the energies here?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Another interesting aspect of Bell Rock is the fact that it's supposedly a beacon vortex, which means that there is a charge or an energy emitting from the top of the mountain that supposedly runs at least a mile into the air. Now this could explain why there have been more UFO sightings above Bell Rock than anywhere else in Arizona.
I was just mainly trying to see if I could get in touch with my guides. And I think I was trying too hard because they kept telling me to relax, just to ease into it. And it was just a complete feeling of peace along with a feeling of energy.
We talked to quite a few people in the Bell Rock area this afternoon. Everyone we talked to explained that they had seen intense reds. Even if they normally were to visualize, they normally could visualize very effectively. Today, all they were seeing were these intense shades of reds and moving color. Anybody else get that? I'd like to see a show of hands. I'm going to get out there and interview people in the vortexes more often. Who else wants to share here?
I just have a little something to add to the seeing red at Bell Rock, and that was that I bought amethyst crystal here this morning and wore it out there, and while I was seeing the red, I put the amethyst crystal to my forehead, and when I did that, I have to back up, the amethyst crystal was just glowing hot, and when I put the crystal to my forehead, I no longer saw red, I saw blues and greens, and the amethyst crystal became ice cold. And it was cold on my, touching me all the way back to the hotel.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a neat experience. I would like to have had that experience.
It was almost like I could see the wind coming, and it hit the dirt, and the dirt started swirling in a whirlwind, and it picked up the dust, and it shot and came straight over to me and completely encircled me. It's like it just picked me up and took me away. It makes me shake to talk about it.
You understand where? What does it amount to? Now keep the microphone in mind. How do you add that all up?
I don't know. I've had a lot of thoughts.
I mean, obviously, someone was speaking to you.
Right, right.
What do you think they were saying? What do they want you to become aware of? What do they want you to know?
I've been trying to figure that out. I felt, even after that, I felt so, it was such a calming, and it was, I was getting the feeling that I didn't need to be there any longer, that everything is okay, and you know, and you don't need to be here any longer. Everything, and I was so relaxed and so at peace that there was just nothing going through my mind. It was real different.
Can't wait to go back tomorrow, huh?
I want to try some of the other ones.
Thanks for sharing that. Thank you very much. Okay, I'd like to get just a few more reactions. Back here.
I suffered an injury to my right leg in a Taekwondo tournament back in January. And I've had this big lump on my leg. And people have been telling me I needed to see a doctor. And I've been saying if it's still there when I come back from Arizona, I'll see a doctor. I went to Bell Rock this afternoon. It's not there.
Woo! That's nice, yeah. Good. Anybody else have a healing?
I suffer from chronic migraines, and I have for several years, ever since I was little. And I have a headache every day. And out at Bell Rock, while I was meditating, I got a really bad pain in my head. And before we left, it was all gone, and I haven't had a headache since.
Oh, really? Did you get anything as to cause, Leslie? What?
No. I've been trying to figure out that. We've tried everything, so
well, let's let that be the end of it.
Keep it gone.
Good. Okay, let that be the end. Beautiful. All right. Thanks, son. Cause and effect. Thank you. That was hard for her.
After years of exploring in Sedona, I think the vortexes can be summarized as an energy-enhancing field. In other words, the energy emitting from the vortexes intensifies an individual's own energy, psychic energy, healing energy, love energy. And it may be that it is easier here to go within and find your own answers, to find yourself. I don't see the vortex energy as metaphysical or spiritual. The energy is just what is, and it can be explained in very down-to-earth terms. Albert Einstein discovered that matter is energy. A rock appears to be solid, but in reality it is a mass of vibrating, pulsating molecules. The same is true of plants, animals, and people. We are all energy. Your body is energy, your mind is energy, and your soul is energy. The only difference between them is the vibrational rate. And it may be that when you enter the vortex areas, your vibrational rate is increased. Even a minimal increase in your vibrational rate would enable you to do things and experience things beyond your normal ability. I contend we are all here on earth to evolve spiritually. As we evolve, we increase our vibrational rate. And maybe the Sedona vortexes provide us with a preview of our natural abilities a few lifetimes down the evolutionary road.